What do you want? What do you want? And the reason I ask is because you have all these goals that you say you want to pursue, you say you want to achieve, and you don't act like you want it. So I'm asking this question so you can have an opportunity to be honest with yourself, so you can introspect and ask yourself if this is what you want. Because the truth is, if you half dedicate yourself to a goal, you will only suffer and still not achieve that goal. Quite likely, especially if it's a big, grand goal. So you have to really ask yourself, what is it that you want out of this life? What do you want to achieve? And don't fool yourself. Don't say you want something because it's popular. Because what will happen is that you'll commit to it. And then all of a sudden, when the work comes, you'll go through a bit of it. But deep down, you know that that's not what you want. And you'll go through all that for nothing. And you still won't achieve what it is you had set out to achieve from the beginning. And you'd have wasted your time. You'd have suffered unnecessarily. So I ask again, what is it that you want? Because if you want to achieve something big, fine, but commit yourself to it. Don't fool yourself. Do not fool yourself. If you want to be a bodybuilder, you have to commit to the endless nights of training, the endless dieting, the endless denying yourself, right? Denying yourself over and over and over again for that goal. You have to be willing to sacrifice a lot, right? I saw this quote the other day, and there was this elderly man that said that pain is there to ask you one question, and it's there to ask you if you really want what it is you say you want. Because when you commit to something, you signed up for the pain, and you have to be willing to go through that pain, right? When I decided to come out here and record these videos, I signed up for the bugs, right? I signed up for the bees buzzing around me, but I don't mind because this is what I want to do. This was my goal. So I'm not going to be here and complain and then just leave because I'm sick of the bees buzzing. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with your goals. Do not half commit. Ask yourself if you want the things you want, so that when the pressure hits and when the fire burns, you don't jump out. You don't cop out. You don't give yourself an outlet. This is it. This is what you asked for. So bask in it. Love it. Embrace it. Go after it. Remind yourself consistently that this is what you want. Don't allow yourself room for slacking off. And it's different if you genuinely want to change your mind. But don't be double-minded. Don't say you want something, and as soon as it gets hard or kind of unbearable, you jump out. You jump out of the fire. You leave the kitchen, so to speak. You have to commit to these things. And the funny thing is, if you really want something, you will get it. If you really want something, it doesn't matter the pain you go through because you want it. If you really want something, it doesn't matter the discomfort you go through because you want it. If you really want something, it doesn't matter how much time you have to sacrifice to that craft. You will do it because that's what you want. You know, Conor McGregor keeps repeating this quote by Van Gogh. I think his name is Vincent Van Gogh, this famous painter. And the line goes, "I've dedicated myself to my craft, and in the process, I've lost my mind." Beautiful, beautiful quote. And it's kind of ironic because Van Gogh kind of offed himself. But that's beside the point. The point is, you have to be willing to see your goals for what they are. The fulfillment of your goals for what they are, right? And commit yourself to it. And tell yourself that it does not matter what I have to go through to achieve it. That's what I want. So it literally doesn't matter. And then commitment from there on is easy. You'll find the passion to do the things you want if you've truly committed yourself to it. But you know what hurts? You know what burns? You know what irks at your soul? Do you know what often nags at you at night when you can't fall asleep because you have all these things thinking about? Is the half-hearted commitments you have made. Let me give you a little analogy. There's a furnace, and gold is only purified by furnace, by fire, right? By the furnace. So let's say success is represented by gold, right? Gold in its final purified form. If you commit yourself to success, so to speak, right? Gold, like the end product, and you jump into the fire, and then all of a sudden you jump out. Do you know what happens? You're basically useless because you've not been refined to the point where people want to pay high dollar, right? You're not refined to the point where people would be willing to sacrifice their time and money for what you have to offer. right? Which is what people do with gold. But you'd have still been in the fire. And all in all, it's suffering on top of suffering on top of suffering, because not only did you not become your final state, your purified state, so to speak, your refined form, the point where you could do all these things, but you've gone through all that pain, all that suffering, and came out empty-handed. What was the point? You cheated yourself and imposed unnecessary suffering on your life and the people who support you. And let me tell you, it's a shame for you to be indecisive when people are out here depending on you. You can't afford that, especially for the boys out there. I'm talking to you especially. Pay attention, because this is for you. And again, I'm talking to myself. These videos are made to reinforce the things that I know to be true for myself, so I can hear them, but also to provide value for the people who need to hear as well, the people who want to hear as well. Oh my gosh, I just broke this poor plant. That's beside the point. By the way, if you're intrigued about this background, I stumbled upon it the other day and I just thought it was absolutely beautiful. So although I look like a 13-year-old girl in her dreams, I think it's beautiful. So back to the main point though. You can't be cheating yourself out of the things you could achieve. So do yourself a favor and make sure that the things you say you want are the things you actually want. So that when the fire hits, you don't cop out. When the fire hits, you don't jump out. When the fire hits, you stay committed. You go through the fire, you become purified. So you can achieve what it is you had set out to achieve in the first place. That's my advice. Ask yourself what it is you want and be true to it. Commit to it and go all the way. Go all the way. This is Corbin Conversations. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.